what I've noticed when I'm doing healings on people who are on a spiritual path, some have had a lot of traumas in this life and some of them haven't. Is there a reason why, like, for example, myself, like, I have gone through, I've asked questions to my guides and I always get conflicting answers on it. So, is there a reason or a purpose for having so many traumatic events happen throughout your life? Like, is there a reason for that specifically?
Yeah, there are many reasons. One of them is the dark side that kind of knows who you are. The more light you have,
I thought,
the more you turn on your screen, and they can look down the timelines. I mean, I'm not talking about humans here. I'm talking about, like the Grays, and others that are, trying to hurt humanity. So they see, who you are. And then I've seen in many cases, and even in my own life, they start attacking the little babies, for anything from nightmare to traumatic abductions. Some of those are visitations, they're different when your own people are coming. But, there is a lot of traumatization right there. Then also, many light bringers, they incarnate in bloodlines, of people, like dark bloodlines. Like Princess Diana, incarnated there, or, you're married into their bloodline, to transmute it. The bloodline itself, the genetic material is certainly very good. These are very psychic people, but, just the karmic entanglement, contracts with the dark side and the other karma like slaving and, running East India Company and other things. I mean, I'm just taking some cultural background here, but every culture has their own stuff. So so yeah, so many of my clients, they incarnate in, you could say demoniac families. They have a lot of dirt, you know, on the stick, karmically, and so, but they manage them, through, I mean, it's through work that Natty and me doing, then to clear like thousands of slaves or people that are stuck, due to their ancestors doing. So, so there is this whole psychic warfare, aspect. And then there's also this lesson, you're learning a lesson, when you talk to high selves about, well, why the heck, you know, did you incarnate, as the poor person? There could be to learn humility, or to learn compassion. With that client, well, they became an alcoholic. That was not planned. Yeah, so, so the high self, they are planned a lot of stuff, as a lesson for the soul. And you could say it's maybe also part of the reincarnation cycle, to keep us trapped here, so that AI is telling us or some wise counsel is telling us to come back here. So, so that's, another reason, and they say, the bigger the soul, the harder the lessons. So I have had clients that were expansion of ISIS. I mean, I had a lot of clients, that feel they're an expansion of ISIS. But an ISIS is probably also incarnated in maybe 2,000 humans at this time, so she is a powerful being. Right. And so, but, so these people, I mean, they went through the worst. They were pimped out by their parents, sexually. They were put on drugs and walking into walls, and everybody was amused. I mean, it was just like complete horror show, But this is, what ISIS, wanted to experience, the darkest and lowest, of humanity, I mean, so they cooked the soup, they're also eating it. You can blame the gods, for messing with our karma and manipulating us, but they also have to eat the soup as humans. They're also incarnated. So And, you know, I have to say, there's a lot of spiritual royalty here, or genetic royalty here incarnated. You know, to be born in America, that's you know, and with all these facilities at your fingertips, that is very, uh, you know, exceptional. You know, especially at these times. You know, not some ding-dong soul gets to be born here at this time. You know, these are all, you know, very high price tickets, you know, to be able to incarnate here. There's one more, the shaman's death. You know, the shaman's death. You know, so yeah, so many times, you know, yeah, you know, why did you choose, you know, to get raped or to be having those abusive parents, you know? And then it is, yeah, you know, so we get compassion and we learn how to overcome, and then we can teach other women, you know? So that principle
Definitely.
is the shaman's death, you know? So you get, you know, knocked, or the hero's journey, you know? So you know, you get knocked off kilter, you know, and you have to recover, you know, and to you learning, you know, to fix yourself, you know, and that's of course, you know, where you get all your tools, you know, and then you do it, and then you can do it with others. You can transfer it, you know, so you're not an armchair philosopher. You know, that's important, you know. I mean, shamans are not armchair philosophers. You know, they got street credits.